Would you please welcome Amy? And it is incredibly nerve-wracking to be following such wonderful poets reading their own work, to be standing here trying to do justice to the words of others. So please forgive me if I fail to celebrate these in the way that they should be said, but thankful for the opportunity. The first poem I'm going to be reading is called The Invitation, and it's by Araya Mountain Dreamer. It doesn't interest me what you do for a living. I want to know what you ache for, and if you dare to dream of meeting your heart's longing. It doesn't interest me how old you are. I want to know if you will risk looking like a fool for love, for your dream, for the adventure of being alive. It doesn't interest me what planets are squaring your moon. I want to know if you can sit with pain, mine or your own, without moving to hide it, or fade it, or fix it. I want to know if you can be with joy, mine or your own, if you can dance with wildness and let the ecstasy fill you to the tips of your fingers and toes without cautioning us to be careful, to be realistic, to remember the limitations of being human. It doesn't interest me if the story you are telling me is true. I want to know if you can disappoint another to be true to yourself. If you can bear the accusation of betrayal and not betray your own soul. If you can be faithless and therefore trustworthy. I want to know if you can see beauty, even when it is not pretty, every day. And if you can source your own life from its presence. I want to know if you can live with failure, yours and mine, and still stand on the edge of the lake and shout to the silver of the full moon, yes. It doesn't interest me to know where you live or how much money you make. I want to know if you can get up after the night of grief and despair, weary and bruised to the bone, to do what needs to be done to feed the children. It doesn't interest me who you know or how you came to be here. I want to know if you will stand in the centre of the fire with me and not shrink back. It doesn't interest me where or what or with whom you have studied. I want to know what sustains you from the inside when all else falls away. I want to know if you can be alone, with yourself, and if you truly like the company you keep in the empty moments. This next poem is called Come, Come, Whoever You Are, and it's by Jalal al-Din Muhammad Rumi. Wanderer, worshipper, lover of leaving. It doesn't matter. Ours is not a caravan of despair. Come, even if you have broken your vow 1,000 times. Come, yet again. Come, come. And the next one is Kindness by Naomi Shihab Nye. Before you know what kindness really is, you must lose things. Feel the future dissolve in a moment like salt in a weakened broth. What you have held in your hand, what you counted and carefully saved, all this must go, so you know how desolate the landscape can be between the regions of kindness. How you ride and ride, thinking the bus will never stop. The passengers eating maize and chicken will stare out the window forever. Before you learn the tender gravity of kindness, you must travel where the Indian in a white poncho lies dead by the side of the road. You must see how this could be you, how he too was someone who journeyed through the night with plans and the simple breath that kept him alive. Before you know kindness as the deepest thing inside, you must know sorrow as the other deepest thing. You must wake up with sorrow. You must speak it till your voice catches, and the thread of all sorrows, and you see the size of the cloth. Then it is only kindness that makes sense anymore. Only kindness that ties your shoes and sends you out into the day to gaze at bread. Only kindness that raises its head from the crowd to say, "It is I you have been looking for," and then goes with you everywhere, like a shadow or a friend. And the next one is Exile by Harold Hart Crane. My hands have not touched pleasure since your hands. No, nor my lips freed laughter since farewell. And with the day, distance again expands, voiceless between us as an uncoiled shell. Yet, love endures, though starving and alone. A dove's wing clung about my heart each night with surging gentleness, and the blue stone set in the tryst ring has but worn more bright. And the next one is The Storm by Emily Dickinson. There came a wind like a bugle, it quivered through the grass, and a green chill upon the heat so ominous did pass. We barred the windows and the doors, as from an emerald ghost, the doom's electric moccasin that very instant passed. On a strange mob of panting trees and fences fled away, and rivers where the houses ran, the living looked that day. The bell within the steeple wild, the flying tidings whirled, how much can come, how much can go, and yet abide the world. And the next one is Courage by Anne Sexton, something I feel like I have needed very much to stand up here today. It is in the small things we see it, the child's first step, as awesome as an earthquake. The first time you ride a bike, wallowing up the sidewalk. The first spanking when your heart went on a journey all alone. When they called you crybaby, or poor, or fatty, or crazy, and made you into an alien, and you drank their acid and concealed it. Later, if you faced the death of bombs and bullets, you did not do it with a banner. You did it only with a hat to cover your heart. You did not fondle the weakness inside you, though it was there. Your courage was a small coal that you kept swallowing. If your buddy saved you and died himself in doing so, then his courage was not courage, it was love. Love as simple as shaving soap. Later, if you have endured a great despair, then you did it alone. Getting a transfusion from the fire, picking the scabs off your heart, then wringing it out like a sock. Next, my kinsman, you powdered your sorrow. You gave it a back rub, and then you covered it with a blanket, and after it had slept a while, it woke to the wings of roses and was transformed. Later, when you face old age and its natural conclusion, your courage will still be shown in the little ways. Each spring will be a sword you'll sharpen. Those you love will live in a fever of love. And you'll bargain with the calendar, and at the last moment when death opens the back door, you'll put on your carpet slippers and stride out. Thank you.